Hey everybody, welcome back. As you can see, we got Hyatt's Case RC in the garage, and we're trying to get some things dialed in on it as I take the trash out here. Trying to get some things dialed in on it before we send it down to them in Florida. One of the things being, obviously, the carburetor we're going to rebuild, and the magneto we've got off. Now, in order to get the magneto off on these RCs, you have to pull the lower water pipe, and when I pulled it off, I noticed that that stud is nearly completely eaten away. Yeah, it's all gone. And
Ew,
from the research, ickies. From the research I've done, these studs usually break off in the block because they thread in way inside there. So a lot of guys will make a kind of a T-bar with a threaded bolt or stud that kind of hooks in behind the block, kind of like a Farmall F20 hand hole cover or radiator cover, something like that. But we'll see if we can get it out. Probably not. There's not much left of that stud, but you never know. So that's one issue we got to fix. Another thing we got to do is oil pressure line is leaking significantly, so we're going to run a new line for them, put a new fitting on there. I've also got the fuel tank off because somebody had put an elbow in this with just a regular shutoff valve like this. So I've been trying to get these. There's actually two fittings installed in there. No. Ickies. There's actually two fittings installed in here. So I've been trying to get them out, but I've been unsuccessful, and I don't really want to introduce a flame to that and heat it up. So I'm probably going to grind it flush and then drill and retap it. So yeah, see the bugs? Yeah, there's icky bugs, huh? So that's what we've got going on for now. We also have to move the rear wheels in so that it fits on a trailer a little bit better. One last thing is the pin that's in the hand crank mechanism that keeps tension on that spring that's in there, the return spring. That pin is missing, so I'm not really sure if we should pull the radiator off and just see if we can't that's going to be a challenge because the lower radiator tank is actually connected to the hand crank mechanism itself. It runs through the lower radiator tank. So that's going to be kind of a challenge to get that out of there. I'm just looking. Yeah, I don't know if I want to go that deep into it. We'll see. We'll see what we can do, but for now, mag rebuild, carb rebuild, fix the fuel tank issue, fix the oil pressure line, and move the rear wheels in. So that's where we're at for now. Hey guys, welcome back. We are continuing on with the RC for Hyatt. I stopped today, picked up a sediment bowl, picked up some fuel line, and let's see, I think that's all I've picked up so far, but I'm trying to figure out if we should pull the radiator out to fix the hand crank mechanism. Probably should. Not sure what's all involved in that, but it should be fairly simple. It's definitely going to be heavy because it's all cast iron, but let me give you a quick glimpse here. I'll grab the flashlight as to what we've done. So if you can see, well, first things first, I had to drill out the brass fitting that was in the tank. There was actually a fitting in the tank. So I had to drill that out, retap the threads, and installed the sediment bowl. So we're good on that. I took the entire oil pressure gauge and line off. I cleaned that all up. I think we're going to be okay getting a seal out of it. Just with cleaning the threads up, adding some petroleum safe thread tape, and then hopefully tightening everything down the way it's supposed to be. So we got that done. I also, there's some, I don't know if you can see this here, but there's a bolt here, and then there's a bolt on the other side way over there that both of them were loose. So this, I believe this is a cultivator bracket. This thing was just flopping around. So I put some new bolts in it after I chased those threads, tightened everything down. Again, the tank was off, so I pulled the old cloth webbing that sits underneath the tank on the fuel support brackets, or the tank support brackets, and I used some of this 3M, it's a rubberized pad with an adhesive backing, but it's very durable. But I got a roll of probably about 10 feet of it, and I used it on the Case SC. I've used it on the hood and grill and fuel tank kind of overlap areas on the Farmall H. So I put some on the fuel tank support brackets on this to help keep it from, wearing through the tank. And that cloth webbing that is in there from the factory holds moisture, and it's one more thing to attract rust, if you will. So, got the sediment bowl done, got the oil pressure gauge line done. Let's see, the carburetor is at Rudy's, we got to get that rebuilt. And then the magneto, it actually wasn't the original mag for this, so we're going to put the original mag that's supposed to go on it on the tractor. But before we do that, I got to figure out what I'm going to do with this stud. So I haven't tried to turn it yet, but this thing is so thin and wore, eaten away, I should say, not wore through, but eaten away. I'm not even sure what I want to do as far as trying to make it work. But I've got some ideas from some guys on Facebook that I think might be our only option, because I guarantee that if I try to turn this thing out, it's just going to snap. And I'm not going to try and drill it and retap it, because then I have to pull this assembly off, the magneto drive assembly, and I just don't want to do that. So anyways, I think the only thing we have to do to pull the radiator off is pull these two bolts here on the bottom. I can pull this hose off and then pull this hose off at the top, and I should be able to just kind of lift it straight off, or tip it forward and then lift it off. But I can guarantee that this thing weighs easily a couple 100 pounds, because there's a lot of metal there. So yeah, we'll see. But I really want to fix this hand crank mechanism for him, because this thing should return to this position, but it doesn't, because it's missing the pin that goes through. You guys won't be able to see it, but it's missing the pin that goes through the I'll call it the drive shaft, or the mechanism that goes and engages straight with the crankshaft pulley. There's a pin there that puts pressure on that spring to return it back, and it just, well, it's missing. So we'll have to figure out what we're going to do with that. So that's really as far as I've gotten so far. Yeah, I don't know. We're probably going to have to readjust all the governor and carburetor linkages, because there's not, this thing, it sure seems like it revs way up, and it shouldn't probably do that. So anyway, that's where we're at. So stay tuned for more. Okay, well, got the radiator off. So it's just held on by 2 bolts, one here, and then the hand crank mechanism has to be disconnected at the front where it bolts to the universal joint. If you guys can see that back there, see it hanging down in there? Yeah, that's the universal joint. And the problem that we found is there's a, let me pull this out. See this hole here? There should be a washer and then a split pin or a roll pin that keeps this hand crank mechanism with this spring here. It should keep tension on this spring. So basically it will pull this rod forward so that it doesn't sit and bounce off the crankshaft pulley in the back side. So we got to get a washer for this, and then we also have to get a split pin. And also, let me just pull this out here. If you guys see, there's a groove that's kind of machined into the back of this casting for that pin. So that pin is supposed to seat in this groove, which would hold the hand crank vertical when you're operating the tractor. So, excuse me, that's what we have to fix with this mechanism here. And yeah, that's where we're at with that. Other than that, everything else looks pretty good. I'm probably going to flush out the block just to try and get whatever gunk I can out of there. Same with the radiator. Since it's off, we might as well do it. It doesn't take anything to do it, so we might as well. But yeah, other than that, everything's starting to look pretty good. Like I said, we got the new sediment bowl on there. We cleaned up the oil line, put some petroleum safe thread tape on all the ends, tightened everything back down, so hopefully when we start it, we don't have any leaks come from there. Like I said, we cleaned out the fuel tank. So yeah, that's all I've got. I think we're gonna call this an episode, so stay tuned for the next episode and we'll see what we can come up with. All right, later. Oh, by the way, headed to Rolog on Friday, so we'll see you guys there bright and early Saturday morning. That's all I got.